All right, y'all, welcome to the switcheroo. It was me that sabotaged. No, I'm kidding. All right, so for everybody who's wandered in here and it's like, who is this strange person in a bright suit and a ponytail and a floral blazer? It is I, Eric Thomas, an absolute lunatic. And I am here to continue to give you bad news. Normally I speak about how no one cares about authenticity, and today I will speak to you about how no one cares about going viral, and you're being stupid if you try. I'm the bad news bear of all marketing conferences. And so now I have, yet again, another piece of bad news. You are not Elon Musk. Now, you may have known that by checking your bank account, but I just want to introduce you to the fact that you are not Elon Musk. Who in here is in digital marketing? You know, you got to ask easy questions. Who in here has ever heard from a client, I just want to go viral? Just viral it. Hit the viral button. Boom. We'll be everywhere. Everyone wants to do what Elon does. Elon has zero marketing budget, and he sells, I don't know, $250,000 in pre-orders of Square trucks, of Tonka trucks. He breaks it on stage, and people still buy it. Could you imagine if Ford would have done that? I'm from Detroit. If Ford would have came out on stage and broke their truck on stage, they would have closed Ford. So what's happening? See, everybody's looking for one viral moment, but they're not thinking about what it requires to go viral. Very rarely does an entity go viral from zero. And so we're going to talk about all of the people that everyone thinks is an overnight success. Everyone wants to be an overnight success, but it takes every overnight success like 20 years to do it. They were like, Justin Bieber's an overnight success. Justin Bieber's been playing drums outside in the street since he was 2 years old. You were playing with glue. Elon Musk has been a stark raving lunatic forever. And so by the time he got to this point, he had built a foundation for virality, for success. And so we're going to talk about what that requires. So I'm going to ask you once again, please stop trying to go viral. And the reason why I say this is number one, who here works for a company, a business, a brand that's been around for more than a year? Who works for a brand that's not a rapper or a 15-year-old kid on TikTok? Who here has something to lose? I am here to argue that you don't have what it takes. You are not willing to risk it. What it requires to go viral is a particular set of risk tolerances that most companies aren't ready for. Are you ready for the backlash? Are you ready to make a joke that could go terribly? I don't think you are. Now, you're telling me, no, but I want 1 million followers. But are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to be Logan Paul and wander into a forest and live stream dead bodies? Oh, now all of a sudden we're quiet. Because you're not willing to do it. Are you willing to set cars on fire? Are you willing to be like Mr. Beast and go out and buy billboards all over the world, give away $1 million at a time for no reason, just for the followers? Are you? It's not that you don't want to, it's that you can't. Because your client wants you to go viral, but they don't want to do what it requires. How often have you brought an idea to a client where they say, that's a little risky? They say, I want 1 million followers by tomorrow, but changing the color of my logo is a little risky. What this requires is building a foundation. Almost every person, every group, every brand that you just found out about had a base of followers. You must create the conditions for virality. Very rarely do you just post something and it goes gangbusters. Because if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? I would argue no. Because the sound is what happens when vibrations are processed through the brain. If there's no process through the brain, then there is no sound. If you do the coolest thing in the world and no one is following you, what will happen? Exactly. So we have a few components of viral success. And I'm talking about virality because I am going to beat this to death before we come back and have a real conversation about building a brand online. A, do you have the time? Are you willing to build for 2 or 3 years before it blows up? Because the clients have quarterly ROI, don't they? But for some reason, we started our YouTube channel a week ago, and because you haven't gone viral in 14 hours, there is a challenge. We also place unrealistic expectations on ourselves. If we do what they did, why don't we blow up? Consistency. This will be a theme throughout the entire conversation. Are you willing to repeat over and over again your success? And are you willing to stop doing things that are not helping you? Are you willing to stop posting stupid letters from the CEO that no one cares about? Well, no, Bill needs to put the letter out. He dwelled over it for 4 weeks, and then I rewrote it and posted it. Do you have the capital? Are you willing to set a Maserati on fire and then share it with your friends and then pay influencers to post it? Fire Festival was an expensive con. He raised $1 million and paid the influencers. Didn't even have enough money left over to pay for the concert. That did not go viral on its own. That was not a viral campaign. Why do people keep calling that a viral campaign? He spent $2 million. I could give out $2 million and be a viral campaign. And lastly, creativity. Are you willing to not do what they did? What does that mean? All right, guys, let me get back in the client voice. Do what they did. How many people have heard that? Could you just do it more like them? Well, they're a Mustang and we're a toothbrush. I'm not sure people can drive our toothbrush. I mean, we're soap, and that's Kim Kardashian. And we just don't have thick enough soap. But you could. Now, are you willing to actually do something different? I ask my clients this all the time. This is something you might want to actually put in your notes. When your client asks you for something crazy, ask them if they're willing to do it. Usually when they say no, we get to get back to regular conversations. Hey, Eric, can you do this crazy thing? Are you willing to put your name on it, or is it just me? Well, maybe not. Are you willing to stand in front of it and say this thing? Well, maybe not. Then you're not willing to do it. What you need is a consistent campaign to create relationships, to build a base so that the people who love you will love you. So let's talk about a few viral moments and break them down. And I am not talking about this damn sandwich. I don't know how many times you've sat in a session and somebody talked about this sandwich, but I ain't doing it for long. Now, I will say this one thing about this sandwich. This sandwich is not a product of a marketing campaign. This sandwich is a product of Black Twitter. I'm not going to dive into Black Twitter. I'm not going to talk to you about Black Twitter, because if you need to learn about Black Twitter, do some Googling. I don't have enough time. That's a whole nother presentation. I respect my people and my culture, not to act like I can sum them up in 48 seconds. But what I will say is that many of the people taking credit for viral sensations are riding the backs of Black Twitter. That is rappers, those are sandwiches, that is Wendy's, who we will talk about. But this sandwich is not a marketing campaign. Do not try to do this. It will not work for you. IHOB. IHOB? Who remembers IHOB? Oh man, IHOB. 41 billion earned impressions. Off a lie. Do we all realize that IHOB lied to us? Fully out and out lied to us. Who went to IHOB since that? See, that's the problem with these momentary blips. One guy went to IHOB. The sales of their IHOB burgers quadrupled. And then we stopped going to IHOB because we didn't like IHOP. And they didn't change anything about their ethos or anything they were doing. They didn't change their signs. They didn't change their mannerism. They didn't change their slow-ass waitresses. They just flipped a P over and called it IHOB. And all we said was, that's dumb. Nobody was like, this is a stroke of genius. We were like, that is the stupidest IHOB I've ever seen. Momentary success. If you go to their social media channels, nothing has changed. They don't have more followers, except for in the momentary blip. They built no relationship with us. We know nothing else about IHOB, other than the fact that they literally lied. People looked them up. They checked the DBA. They were like, are they changing the name? No. All I know about IHOP is they make dry pancakes, whack burgers, and they lie about their name. I would just go on a date. Lil Nas X, who I love. I love Lil Nas X. I love his country twang. I love his fabulousness. I love that he's like the largest openly gay hip-hop artist, country artist, and everything else at the same time. I love him. Lil Nas X has fooled you. Who here thinks that Lil Nas X just blew up out of nowhere? Lil Nas X was a Nicki Minaj fan account called Nas Mirage. This is true. It's in the New York Times. It has to be true. He is the longest running song at number one ever. 4 months, he's number one song. Off top. But the thing they don't tell you about Lil Nas X is that Lil Nas X has been gaming Twitter for years. He used skills called tweet decking, where he created different accounts and he worked with different people that boosted different things. He's gone viral multiple times. You see, the problem with looking at Lil Nas X and trying to repeat his virality is that no one is looking at his track record of viral success. Lil Nas X did not blow up and have one follower and then make a song and then people saw it and then he was out here with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and everybody. Like that does not happen. Not saying that is not like my favorite song, I Am a Child. But what I will say is that Old Town Road is a product of gaming the system. The other thing he did was he did purposely say it was country. And it rose faster because hip hop is the number one music on earth. And you know what that means? That means that there were more people in the space. So he slid over to country and was like, I'm a country artist? And they were like, what the hell is this? He was like, boom. Ladies and gentlemen, that is strategy. The system has been gamed. This is not, he was a kid sitting alone, and he was a broke kid, but a broke kid who's better at social media than all of us. Very important note. We spend a lot of time not hiring strange kids, and the strange kids are really good at the internet. Gillette, the best a man can be, 65.4 million views, 5 billion impressions on social media. This was Gillette taking on toxic masculinity. And me, the guy with the ponytail and the tight suit, as the paragon of masculinity, with the ankles out and the loafers on and the tassels. I'm here to talk to you about being a man. Now, some of you are laughing too hard. This campaign was very interesting. So everyone knows the tagline, the best a man can get. Gillette looked at their brand and they said, what if we want to inspire future generations? What if? What if we want to tackle a problem that we see in our society? What if? What if I just want to shave my damn face? What if? And now look at that. Look, I am the super liberal. I have a ponytail, guys. I'm the liberalist person you've ever met. But that is not what people were expecting from Gillette. They built no momentum towards it, did they? One day you were looking at NASCAR and there was Gillette plastered across the woman's butt, and the next day they were like, toxic masculinity is bad. And we were like, but the butts, Gillette. but the butts. You see, the problem with that is that it does not resonate through the line. Now, the challenge is they have shifted their goal. But is it too late? If you look at the semantic response of this campaign, it is almost primarily negative. And I love this campaign. I do think people should stop getting beat up as a person who used to get beat up. Look at me, I'm 4 feet tall, guys. I got beat up all the time. But here's the challenge. If you have not built a through line to say this is what we're actually about, have you built a relationship, or have you just jumped on a social engagement? Pepsi tried to do the same thing when they ended racism with Kylie Jenner, which was, I appreciate it. I was like, God, this racism's out of control. If I could only hand the police a Pepsi, then it would be all good. That's hands up, here's Pepsi, right? Like, who knew? Because you haven't changed anything about it. Same way with the Kaepernick ad. Boom, fantastic Kaepernick ad. Sweatshops, though. What? What's happening is that there needs to be some type of through line. And so now I want to talk about a few brands that I think connect, that create the conditions for virality, quote unquote, but they're not viral. Anything you do when you have 1 million, 2 million, 20 million followers is viral, right? Because you have sustained relationships. So, let's talk about Fenty. Young Rihanna. And I love me some Rihanna. 8.8 million followers in the Fenty line. Fenty launched like last year. If you've ever gained 8 million followers in a year or two, please see me after the show. Like, how did this happen? Because for all intents and purposes, Fenty has never gone viral, has it? Have you ever seen anything from Fenty that was like, oh, it's broken the internet? Other than the fact that it is run by Rihanna. So, part one, foundation. Rihanna had a bunch of followers, didn't she? Part two, does anybody know what the selling proposition for Fenty is? Guys, you should know this. It's very important. You're in marketing. Fenty has 40 different skin tone foundations. Because it turns out we're not all the same shade. Who could have guessed it? Not MAC, I guess. Not anybody before Fenty, I suppose. They were like, everyone isn't pale or dark all the way. Like, no, there's a couple shades in the middle. So Rihanna fixed it. And after she fixed it, everybody decided, oh my God, there are other people. But Fenty didn't stop there. Fenty is working on all body types, all skin tones, all confidence. They are focused on confidence, identity, value, self-worth. Fenty went after everyone that no one talks to. And there's a lot more of those people than it is the very few that were at the top. Has anyone seen the fact that the Victoria's Secret fashion show has collapsed? It's being replaced with what? Rihanna's fashion show. There's more people, guys. The story of the success of Fenty is a story of the success of inclusion. There are so many more people that have not been heard, that a relationship has been built. This model said, I forget her name, it's like Slick something, it's like a cool name. My name's Eric, that's not cool. Sold any drugs, I don't get a cool name. She said that Fenty has changed the model of beauty. When you used to Google beauty, just beauty on its face, skinny white women would appear. When you Google beauty now, she appears. She said she Googled beauty and saw herself and didn't know how to react to it. The story of the relationship is in the consistency and the honesty. They didn't just say we're going to change the foundation. They changed the foundation of the industry. Ariana Grande. I love me some Ariana Grande. Now, the album Dangerous Woman is a banger. I listen to it once a week. Do not judge me. Masculine. Okay? 168 million followers. Musicians and artists know something that no other brand understands. Because no one gets as big. Have you noticed that no one gets as big as the musicians? No matter how much money they're spending, no one can catch up to Ariana and Beyonce. Beyonce posts Instagrams with no hashtag and no caption. Ariana posts in lowercase letters, crazy Twitter. I mean, I encourage you to go look at these people's Instagrams because they do everything wrong. No hashtags, no nothing, just me eating a cake, whatever. What are they doing? They're feeding their clientele's emotion. They care what you feel like. They're allowing you to invest in the journey, and they're telling stories about you. That's what music is, right? It's stories about us. It's shared experiences. And so the stories of us connect us to the artists that we love. There are superstars who fainted when Michael Jackson walked in the room. There are artists in this world who have more followers than the largest brands in the world. Rihanna has become one of the largest brands. She is the highest grossing female musician because of her brand, because she built a loyal following that they understand the value of Rihanna and what she represents and her difference and her complexity, and then she made it into a product, and now she's filthy freaking rich. Filthy rich. Ariana Grande is the same. And she doesn't make any sense to me. She was a little Italian girl on Nickelodeon, and then boom, she was Hispanic. I don't even know. She was like little Mexican Aretha Franklin. How are you doing this? But she gave the people what they wanted. Confidence. When you see Ariana Grande, she exudes confidence. And the people that follow her may not be as confident. And so they invest in her confidence. There's an anime I was watching, that's how nerdy I am. And one guy said, "Do you believe in yourself?" He says, "No." He says, "Do you believe in me?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Then believe in the me that believes in you." He said, "Okay." That's what they're doing. Believing in people that validate them. Wendy's, young gangsta Twitter. Another brand you've heard about too many times this week. But I want to talk about Wendy's because Wendy's don't make no damn sense. People are like, "Oh, be gangsta like Wendy's." Wendy's is ridiculous. Wendy's, if you do what Wendy's is doing, you will get your account shut down. And you know why? Everybody's most feared phrase, cultural appropriation. If you, toothbrush brand, decide to be a young gangster, we're going to start asking some questions. So how is Wendy's getting away with it? Consistency. Wendy's has been doing this for like 3 years. And for some reason, Wendy's is right. It's hard. See, I'm about to go into a mini 1-second rant. Everybody want to do the black stuff, but they don't want to hire the black folks. They want to do, hey black folks. You know, like I found the black folks in the crowd. I can't even see you, but I just knew I felt them. You're damn right, hire us. What happens is the colloquialism that comes with it requires tonal and trend understanding. It happens colloquially inside of neighborhoods. And so if you're removed from the neighborhood, you can't find it 6 weeks out. You won't be fast enough. And so you have to be a part of that community in order to know. And so Wendy's is doing something very unique. It's happening as the community is moving. What Wendy's is doing is very, very intricate and very technical because it requires an understanding of a community that Wendy's is not a part of. Wendy's is not what Wendy's sounds like. This is not what I pictured when I saw Wendy's make a diss track against McDonald's. But the consistency. Wendy's doesn't do this thing where it's like, yo, 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 it's lit, and then jump into a whole nother brand speak. Wendy's doesn't break character. Have you ever seen Wendy's break character? It's been 3 years, and Wendy's been like, nah, I'm a gangster. I don't have time. We're not for play. Really? Consistency. This young man is one of my favorite people on the internet. A person I am fortunate to know. He's a 21-year-old with 1.4 million followers on Instagram, 1.3 million followers on Twitter, another 600,000 followers on Facebook. He is a phenomenon. He's been making Vine videos and then Instagram videos since high school. And as of last year, he's been making hundreds of thousands of dollars. How? He makes sketches, risque sketches, that your brand can't do. He made a video about Adam and Eve and how goofy that whole Apple situation was. I thought it was hilarious. Do you get to make Adam and Eve jokes at work, guys? Do you get to put it on your social media? Absolutely not. He built a series of viral moments out of comedy, and then he, as a young man who struggles with depression, suicidal ideation, who I've, like I said, been fortunate to interview, created a hoodie that just says, "You matter" on it. The sleeves say, "Even though I'm weak, I know I'm strong." The hoodies are $65. He sold out in an hour. Don't let people believe that influencers can't sell. They can sell when they hit their right market fit. He's a man who struggles, and so he met the youth that struggle. Sells out every time. People share every time. There are people with tattoos that say "You matter." There were people with tattoos with his face on it. Why? Because they feel as though they're a part of his journey. And lastly, Dove, the Real Beauty campaign. I know everyone's seen this campaign, yes? For 20 years, Dove has been beating the same drum. And for the first 10 years, it was going well. You know, they became the #1 brand. They've jumped sales, $1.5 billion, which I would say is a successful conversion, yeah? I'd love to make a conversion to $1 billion. Not sure it would be on my website. But they had to do something that no one was willing to do. Put women who didn't look like supermodels on the ads before Fenty showed up. To talk about self-esteem, and to talk about the things that matter, to make people feel included, to make people feel heard, to make people feel loved. The commercial that they dropped when they first dropped this campaign about how women describe themselves and in how other people describe those women and the difference in how they were drawn from a caricature artist moved everyone to tears. Because it reminded us of how hard we all are on ourselves and how other people see the best parts of us even though sometimes we see the worst parts of us. They've been building it for almost 2 decades. But they made a series of mistakes because they've been doing it too long. One ad, they had someone taking off their skin, and underneath this dirtier black woman was a white woman. Thanks. Me and Michael Jackson have been trying to figure that out. Now, what happened? When you disconnected from the core idea and just went to making commercials, you lost your edge. So they went viral again, but for all the wrong reasons. All press is not good press. Don't believe that. You will be canceled. The internet has changed that paradigm. We will shut you down. We will Harvey Weinstein you very fast. You have to go. So the question is, are you willing to take the risk versus the longevity? You can go viral and not mean anything in the next week. Or you can build a foundation by doing just a few simple things. Cater to your audience. Remind them that they matter. This young woman, she says, she saw other dark-skinned girls in Sephora getting their makeup done, and for the first time, she felt seen. Validate your audience. Validation is incredibly powerful, one of the most powerful ways to connect. You know what memes are? They're just validations for how we feel. That's why we just post it and say same. Now we don't have to talk. Share a language. Communicate in the way that your market communicates. Everyone's not a gangster. Everyone doesn't have to be a gangster. Please stop trying to be gangster. Please. It's really irritating us over here on Black Twitter. We're really confused. Hey, black people. But truly, because it's not just us. It's every person from a niche community, especially the LGBTQ community, that's trying to figure out when all you people started saying yes, queen, but still voted against them being married. The challenge is, if you're going to share a language, you have to through line it. And you have to let your community know that they matter. That this is not just for one hit. Because everyone here has been online and you know that people just show up during the election season and all of a sudden they care about your particular demographic. Until the election ends and you've never seen that politician in your neighborhood again. And above all else, you like my little pun? Above all else, be consistent. Stay in the pocket. Yes, this one didn't go viral. But don't think about it as one opportunity to hit. Think about it as a continuous through line of opportunity. If you hit 20 million people over a series of different hits, you've done your job instead of waiting for the one time you got 1 million people. It's been a strategy that's been very effective for me. It has worked because you not only built a following, you've respected a following. Thank you.